USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents the Royally Rich Lifestyle Show, starring Ian Pelham Turner and Helena Chard.
Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome to another Royally Rich Lifestyle Show with me, Ian Pelham Turner.
And me, Helena Chard.
As always on ALB UK TV Studios. So let's roll the titles. Let's get on with the show. Helena, you've got some incredible royal news this week. What on earth has been going on now?
I'm not sure about incredible, but we've got some royal news. This particular story, it tickled me because we know the area quite well. So King Charles has visited the home of Tottenham Hotspurs, and it was to see the Premier League club's working with businesses. And he met a wonderful lady called Gina Moffat, who actually has a restaurant in Tottenham, and she was helped by his organisation when it was the Prince's Trust. And so she's done incredibly well, and it was just exciting to see. She was thrilled to see him, and she was just genuinely was saying that he's absolutely far bigger than Beyonce, which also tickled me. So that was good fun. And he was there at the stadium having a go at throwing American football. I believe there's an association, a collaboration between America's is it NFL? Yes, NFL, I think that's right. And Tottenham. And also they met people from the state funded. It's a school of excellence, I think it is, which is funded. I didn't know it was there. Oh, the London Academy of Excellence, Tottenham, which I didn't know was there, which is great. But anyway, everyone had great fun. The king had wonderful energy and he had quite a good shot, so we were told. So good for him. I mean, he's still obviously undergoing cancer treatment, but still loves meeting people and is full of energy. So that's something we always like to see. And Sarah Ferguson, again, very jolly. We love Sarah Ferguson. She is good fun. She always says things which are maybe not quite PC, which makes her, I think, quite funny. But nevertheless, is great. But she's going to be doing an interview shortly in the next few days. She's now 65, where she's going to be reflecting on a number of topics. And the interview is with Professor Ramsey Camis, and she's really going to be talking from the heart. It's going to be sort of discussing mental health through her cancer journey, and how she really, found hope through the journey, but has been very honest about it, which is great. She talks also about her charities. She's founder of Children in Crisis and also the Sarah's Trust. So really, and talks about the healing power of nature. So we look forward to seeing that. She's really, really great on TV, which is a good job because we've heard that she is trialling as ITV's one of ITV's Loose Women presenters. Now, I think there's a team of fairly high-profile ladies that give their thoughts to things and share lots of things about their charities. So we're looking forward to seeing that. I mean, she was shedding light on, I think, children, last time, and how to help in various situations. But I think she'd be absolutely perfect. And I think this is going to be her next step. I think she'll be cheering everyone along and having a great time. And obviously, I think maybe earning some, money that she may need for Royal Lodge. Who knows? So good on you, Sarah. We've said for quite a few years now it's a direction that she should go in. And I think she did an interview in America. I can't remember the show, but it really gave her a taste for it. So great. Moving on to Jason Knuff. Now, he is... no, in fact, I'm not going to move on to Jason Knuff. We'll do that afterwards. So the Prince and Princess of Wales... They're both in Wales today. This is prior to St David's Day, so it's like a celebration. And I think it's a great thing as well, because I think it's the first time they've done a joint meet and greet and meet up with businesses in Wales since last year. So that's something to cheer. They're meeting people who've been affected by, I think it's Storm Daria. I'd need to check, but it was a huge amount of rain and I think damage that was done. So meeting them, eating Welsh cakes, doing lots of wonderful Welsh things and chatting to businesses. So hopefully that's going well. We've seen them meeting and greeting and they're always received so well in Wales, which is great. Something that myself and Ian were asked by a certain broadcaster, and a broadcast platform, and I thought I'd talk about it. Again, it's leading on from the Prince and Princess of Wales, and this is to do with the Princess of Wales in this time. So we have been listening to lots of different information and stories that have come out via a book, and the book is called Yes, Ma'am, The Secret Life of the Royal... Goodness me, now I've just suddenly forgotten it. The Royal... Goodness, I can't think. Well, it's something like that. It's to do with where they cook. Ian, do you know? No? Okay. Well, the chefs, I don't know, something like that. And the Princess of Wales has made it very, very clear that she banned her children being involved with the controversial blooding ritual, which is horrible. So what blooding is, it's absolutely something I know that Ian doesn't like as well. It involves children a lot of the time, and it's the first time that you kill an animal, which is awful. And it's actually when you're wiping blood on the face of the children. And apparently Prince Harry talked about it in his book, Spare, where he mentioned where it's quite graphic, actually. But I can't believe that in this day and age, it's pretty prehistoric. I mean, it goes back decades, and really people shouldn't be killing animals for glory, and also thinking that it's something to get a trophy for and put in on the mantelpiece. But yeah, it's upset me in a sense. And I think, Ian, do you want to give your thoughts on it? Because I know that you did a little piece for the platform.
I mean, it's just another nail in the coffin, because all these stories are coming out at the moment about different things. And I know that Kate is fighting to stop this principle happening to her children. She's also in an argument with William over sending George to Eton College. She wanted to send him to a more sort of not such a strict school as that as well. So I think, there are two worlds colliding at the moment, the old royal family and the new blood coming, pardon the pun, coming into the new royal family as well. So I just think, quite honestly at the moment, let's get rid of these draconian, stupid rules that they've created from the past. In reality, it may have been a tradition 2 centuries ago, but we are now in 2025, and it's about time that the royal family decided to join that era as well.
Yeah, I mean, not to forget, it's not just the royal family. I know that they're associated with this, but it's sort of what's it, the aristocrats, I think that's where it's from, and it's obviously goes back centuries. But Prince and Princess of Wales really are the modern face of the monarchy, and they realise that it's not really acceptable now, and not to forget that they have the Royal Foundation, and part of the Royal Foundation is trying to protect animals, elephants and various things. So Prince William, of course, will know that it's not a particularly good look. And to remember as well, the Princess of Wales, she's all about young people and the projects she works on. She will see that the reason why she wouldn't want her children anywhere near anything like that, it's traumatic. And she talks about nurturing young people and people all looking out for each other. So it's not anything that she would really want to be associated with. So an interesting one, I think, but horrible. And moving on, so as I said, we were talking about Jason Knuth. Now, he worked with Prince Harry and Prince William. He was the royal aide to them both. And it's a really great show has come out, 60 Minutes Australia, where he talks about his time working with both the brothers. And he's actually a communications expert. So it was well done. He knew not to overstep the mark. It's come at a good time as well because of obviously the Republican movement in Australia. And it's obviously shows that the Prince and Princess of Wales actually are quite loved out there. So the chances of things changing now are pretty slim. But he talked about various things. He talked about the sadness of the brothers, going their separate ways, and how William has chosen just not to talk at all. He's sort of cut off from it, and everyone around him, friends, etc., are respecting that. He was at the heart of the bullying accusations. This is to do with the Meghan Markle bullying accusations in 2018. And he was asked, would he change anything? Would he have done anything differently? To which he answered, no, he wouldn't. And just little stories that he was talking about, which was really good fun. And I know that myself and Ian at the time when Princess Charlotte was born, we were outside the hospital. Apparently he was running around, he had a press release, and it was obviously going to be announced that it was a baby girl, etc. And he actually talked about how he had everything all printed out, and he dropped it in the middle of the crowds. Now, I know, Ian, you'll remember what it was like. And he said he spent such a long time worried that it would come out. But anyway, it luckily wasn't. He's a level-headed, likeable guy. And I think actually it's a real coup for Australia that they have got that. So if anyone wants to watch it, it is on YouTube. Also, Meghan Markle. She has her new brand, as we know, is marching on with it. We have heard of all the different things that she's bringing out, and a few things that I hadn't realised: pancake mix, and I think biscuit mix, and various things. She's been accused of quite a few things, but I mean, she is tenacious and she's going for it. It does seem to be that the new thing is it's very similar to Pamela Anderson's lifestyle show, which is pretty similar. Although I think Pamela Anderson's one is a little bit more raw, not so glitzy. And yeah, so if anyone wants to buy into her products, they will be out in a few months. Meantime, I think 4th of March, we will be watching the new lifestyle show, and lots of people, commentators will be commentating on it. So we will see what happens. And I have heard, well, Mr. Turner has said that Suits is actually a very, very, very good production. But apparently Suits LA is out now, so I've heard. Now, I don't know whether, Ian, did you know that?
Yeah, in fact, the original cast of Suits went to LA this week to actually sort of be part of the premiere for Suits LA as well. And it's really a takeoff. It's quite a dramatic show. I find it very interesting. It's got a lot of drama in it, a lot of humour into it as well, and it's a great Netflix series of the past. And this new one is expected to be really another barnstormer for this whole product at the same time. And I think And as I say, obviously with Meghan as well, she was then Meghan Markle when filming that. She came across as a very good actress as well. And I think, as I say, it is time now to highlight and give her some accolades rather than constantly having a go at it at the moment. Poor girl. I feel sorry for her in a lot of ways, but Suits LA, yeah, it's going to be a great new title, and I can't wait to see it on Netflix.
Now, do we think that Meghan Markle's going to have a role in there, do you think, or have a special,
No, I don't think so. I think, although they obviously live in Los Angeles now as well, but I think the reality is that I think with Meghan right now, I mean, she's got enough on her plate. She's got children. She's got her own sort of productions as well. She's got Netflix to actually sort of work alongside her as well. And obviously she still likes doing some of her sort of charitable activities along with Harry at the same time. So I think her life is full. And I think if you look back, people like Grace Kelly tried to do it, and I'm not sure how successful that was. So I think, I don't know. I mean, who knows? You can never say never,
no,
but
I don't think
acting days are over.
I don't think so. Although, the funny thing is, I do want to be proved wrong, I have to say. I think she is good at her acting. So I think that's something that she should do, in fact. The other things, I don't think she's as strong as, and it's something to do with her character. But there is this new production possibly, which is Meet Me at the Lake. I think that's the last thing I think that's possibly there with Netflix. I mean, maybe she'd appear in that. I don't know. But that's, I do want to be proved wrong. And I know my opinions differ to Ian's. But, at the end of the day, it's good to see people trying, and we want the success for everyone, don't we?
Absolutely.
So I think that's it. I think that's the end of it. I just wish I could remember the name of the book by Tom Quinn, The Secret Life of the Royal Something. That's all I know this second. But anyway,
perhaps that's probably a better title.
It is, yeah. It's mysterious.
Because, let's be honest. All these books are starting to come out of the woodwork, and I love it because it's always quoting people close to the royal family. Isn't somebody ever going to go on record with the royal family and saying, I've just dealt the the proverbial poo on the royal family, and it's me? Who knows? I think the reality at the moment is that it's one of these things, but we have warmer climes to go to, because now we're just going to take a short break, and then, believe it or not, we're going to enjoy the Seychelles. Stay tuned.
My name is Claude Bonte de Beauvalon, and I used to run business groups in these lovely 5-star hotels in central London. We worked in the Mandarin Oriental, Grosvenor House Hotel, Selsdon Park, etc., etc. They were very nice hotels. And basically, people used to come together and they used to pass work to each other. So it was a group that enabled people to grow their businesses by word of mouth. And I went from there to making TV programs in the wonderful Seychelles, certainly a far cry from London. So I guess I was lucky. I had the opportunity at one point in my life to either start again in central London or come to Seychelles for a fresh start. And one thing I can say is it was really the road of trials. There were a lot of trials and tribulations along the way, but I've come to understand that it's the trials and tribulations that actually make us what we become.
Just when you think you've seen it all, something new comes along, and you realize there's another world to discover. These are islands that are like nothing else. This is where nature prevails, where it flows, where it flourishes. A sanctuary for all forms of life. A place that buzzes with culture. Combining traditions and creating something entirely new. You can see it in the people, the food, the hospitality.
Welcome aboard Flight 226. We'd like to thank you for traveling with us today, and we hope you enjoy your flight.
Welcome to Seychelles.
Welcome to Seychelles.
So wasn't that tremendous videos? We've just seen the Seychelles in their glory in the tourism, and also with Claude from his own show as well. So let's bring the man on himself. So can we welcome Claude Bonte de Beauvalon? Good afternoon.
Yay!
Yes, good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to you, Helena.
So you've got a tremendous story, Claude, haven't you? Because you became almost like a property person in Britain, and then became an entrepreneur, and also started doing a great deal of meet groups as well to actually inspire young SMEs to actually move forward in their lives, and businesses as well. And then you had to suddenly change. So what are your memories of Britain?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I must say, actually, I really enjoyed my time in England. I used to arrange business groups in these really nice hotels like the Mandarin Oriental in Knightsbridge, the Grosvenor House Hotel on Park Lane, and a few of the home counties like the Marriott in Bexley, etc. And what it was basically SMEs, you know, sometimes SMEs, but also really well-known corporates as well. They used to come to breakfast. So it used to happen at about 7 o'clock in the morning, silly hour, as some people would say. And people passed work to each other. So they built relationships. They built their business, I'd say, on word of mouth. They got a lot of referrals. And I started going to these groups, and it amazed me that all this was going on before most people even woke up to start working. So I had a great time in central London. I had these groups. I had about, at one point, I think I had about 7 or 8 groups, and each of them had about 20 people in there. So you can imagine I met a lot of very interesting people and learned a lot of skills, life skills, I'd say.
Amazing.
So that was the nicest part of being in England.
We need that now, Claude. We need that now. We need business and growth. So yes. The businesses that you connected, etc., obviously they grew, I guess, and had their own stories and life, which is great.
Yeah.
Is this a moment I can mention? You have the most amazing name, and it sounds lovely, and I wondered if you could just share your full name and everything around it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. How did the name come about? Well, in Seychelles, it's a very interesting place, actually. You have a lot of names that are what we would call aristocratic, as you would have them in many different countries. So, you know, in Seychelles, you would have Saville de Saint-Maurice, Lefebvre de Grand-Pierre. It's something of a town, just as you would in England. And my friend Philip Saville de Saint-Maurice, so they came from Mauritius, and it was 2 cousins. That was the story he told me. And I kept on hearing all these names, and I said, you know, we had a few drinks on the beach one Sunday. Jokingly, I said, "This is silly." I said, "From now on, I would like to be known as Claude Bonte de Beauvalon because we were on Beauvalon Beach." And it was just funny. It sounded so silly that we just both laughed about it and didn't think anything of it. It's just one of those Sunday lunchtime chats, really. And then 2 years after that, it became a household name when I had my program Financial Fridays on the radio. And it was Financial Fridays with Claude Bonte de Beauvalon. So the name stuck. That's how it came about.
Like that, good.
So basically, I know, I mean, you had quite a good lifestyle in Britain, and then 2008, the financial crash happened. Tell us a little bit about that time.
Yeah, 2008. Oh, that was worrying. Okay, so I had my business groups, and it was word of mouth. The whole thing happened on word of mouth. And I'm sure you've heard the saying in marketing, 50% of my marketing works, but I don't know which 50%. So naturally, some people got work from these groups, and some people got very little work from these groups. And I think what happened around 2008, people became really, really stringent. And they would say, well, if I'm spending money, am I really getting the bang for my buck? Some were and some weren't. So unfortunately for me, quite a lot of people left the groups. That was one thing. And the other thing is, when I think about it, I was a young guy, I was about 30 years old, and I had 8 networking groups with all these VIPs, corporates, and whatever. So you can imagine, if I said I was out of my depth, that would be putting it mildly. But the thing ran for about 6 or 7 years. It's just at that particular time, a combination of probably making a few bad decisions or wrong decisions, the whole thing folded one after the other. They went like dominoes. I lost 8 groups in 1 week.
So what happened then? What did you think at the time? So was that when your media journey began, or did you?
Well, at the time I thought, oh my Lord, what am I going to do? And actually that was very interesting, see, because at that time, what I learned is that every success story has that bit in it where the people lose everything. Everything goes to zero. So for some of the stories I heard, they were more dramatic. They slept in their cars and things like that. For me, it wasn't, I didn't go through that. But what I went through, and now I can laugh about it, was I went home one night, and the wife, I was married for about, I think, 7 years, 7 year itch. The wife went. That was it. She'd gone. In the morning, I remember we had bailiffs knocking on the doors because I had some debts, some council taxes and things like that to pay. And it was just a nightmare. So by the time I got home, the wife left. And there were the TV brackets on the wall. I can still see it. Just the TV brackets on the wall. And I think at that point, I thought, oh my good Lord, this is it, really. What have you done now then? You know, what do I do now? And then the choices I had 2 choices. I said, I'm either going to start again in central London, but that would have been really, really difficult because London is a very hard nut to crack. Or I could go and help my father out with his insurance business in Seychelles. And I had 2 properties. So I said, if I rent these 2 properties out, I'll be able to get some cash flow coming in. And then if I go and help the old man out, then I can have a bit of breathing space. So that's what I did.
To me, Claude, it sounds like a no-brainer, doesn't it? You know, I mean, this afternoon you're in glorious sunshine, you know, making us feel very jealous. We're in London. The rain is teeming down as we speak, and it's a very cold, blustery day. Do you think that the experiences that you had around the 2008 period, do you find that in reality now, that because I think we're in a similar period in Britain right now, you know, a lot of businesses are flatlined as well. What would be your advice now that you've had a lot more experience in this field, to actually businesses in this country?
That's a very good question. Thank you very much for asking it. I'll tell you what my advice would be, right? If you have a business at the moment that's failing, you're not making much profits, you don't know what to do, you don't know whether to open to keep your doors open or give up. Read books about people who had been down that road before. The last person I bought to Seychelles was Gerald Ratner. Every English business person knows his story about when he spoke about that crap jewelry. In fact, one of the funny things he said when he came over in November last year is he said, look, if you haven't lost £500 million, you're doing well. Right? Okay? And that would give anybody hope. At the time that I was really going through it, I remember Rachel Elenoff. I bought her, I think, to Seychelles 5 years ago. Rachel Elenoff was on Dragon's Den, as you all know, and her business, Red Letter Days, went bust, and in fact, her dragons bought it, right? So she came to tell her story, but she had a book called Business Nightmares. I read that one, and because I thought somebody that used to be on the screen every day, every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, you'd see her and you'd think, wow, this lady's doing really, really well. How can someone like that go bust? Anyone can go bust. Any business can go down. And I think what happens when you start reading those kind of books, they give you a lot of hope because somebody has been through that process before you. So that means you can come out the other side. The other thing that I read a lot was books like Think and Grow Rich, because I think you have to get your mindset the right way. You have to really have a good mindset. You have to have a very strong mind. Get a mentor, and that goes without saying. This is the other thing. It's all very well reading, and I think they should do that. But I think if you've got somebody that you can sit down with and have a cup of coffee with, and he says, look, I've been through this before, and this is one of the things that I did to get past it, that'll help. One other guy that I can think of that was really inspirational to me is Robert Kiyosaki. He wrote a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and there's a game called Cash Flow 101. If you're lucky enough to play that game, it's an expensive board game. It's about £200, I think, or something like that. But it'll be the best £200 that you've ever spent if you're a businessman, because it's a real life game. And it's a bit like Monopoly, but it's a lot better than Monopoly because it's a game. I think of it as the game of life. I think of it as the game of life. It shows you when you're in the rat race, you have a job, and then you can buy one property or two properties and you get cash flow. And then it takes you to the point where you get out of the rat race and you become financially independent. And the more you play that game, the more it starts changing your mindset. And then you understand that once you get out of the rat race in the game, it's only a matter of time before you'll get out of the rat race in real life.
What TV shows float your boat? I know that you're interested in TV, and I think you've sort of teetered on different paths. I'm interested to know what you enjoy.
What TV shows? The TV shows the TV shows that I used to enjoy watching when I was in England I used to enjoy watching things like Dragon's Den, just because it was entrepreneurs, and then you would see there were some brilliant businesses. There was some where they had a good business, but the attitude of the business owner very desirable. Let's put it like that. And so that made for great entertainment. But you learn a lot from that. I used to like The Apprentice. That was just, for me, that was kind of just entertainment, really. What else? The Rebel Billionaire with Richard Branson. I've always loved his stuff, and I've listened to him talking in his own voice, telling his story for about 20 odd years. And what else? And then I like films. You see, I like many different films. I mean, I like films like Wall Street. I enjoyed watching that. I enjoyed watching Pretty Woman. I think I watched that at the movies 8 times or so, the whole thing. And what else? I used to like Dallas because of this thing about these people. And I think so watching something like Dallas in my teens, I thought I really like the idea of that kind of life,
So you like everything, which is good fun. In fact, Dragon's Den and what was the other one you mentioned? They're really successful now. They're on mainstream TV, new series.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's good.
And I actually worked with J.R. Ewing from Dallas. Do you remember when I don't know if you remember the series, but when he got shot, and Larry Hagman came to London, and I worked with Larry Hagman at the time, so it was quite memorable, to say the least. Coming back to 2008, so you left Britain. I know you come back periodically to Britain anyway, but you left Britain and you came to the Seychelles to work with your father. But unfortunately, after a little while, your father died, and you decided to keep on the insurance business, but also start up more meet-up groups again, more breakfast clubs, and also started a TV career. So tell us all about that time.
Yeah, sure. Well, my father was the founder of the insurance industry of the Seychelles. So he was basically from a poor family on a little island, and he went into business with the leader of a global brand, Brother. I'm sure you remember Brother electronics, printers, typewriters, and things like that. So they formed back in the 70s. They had insurance, first insurance company, hotels, duty-free shops, etc., etc. So they did very well. But with the politics and the government, everything, we lost everything in about 1980 or whatever, and then we came to England. Then we had the chance to go back in 1992. We took it, and he then restarted his insurance business. It was just a little broker, okay? So by the time I went back to Seychelles at that time, I said, well, look, I'll go and help him out. Unfortunately, he was ill, and he passed away. Literally about, I don't know, 2 or 3 months afterwards. He had cancer. And now I find myself with this small broker and about 3 or 4 staff. I had done insurance in central London, so I knew the business. And I said, okay, well, let's crack on and let's get on and do it. And then I found there was a lot of hurdles working with these ladies, because they were very different to the British work. They didn't really have the British work ethics. You come early, you turn up on time, you give a lot of effort to what you're doing, and things like that. So unfortunately, I found that at one point I had to get rid of someone. So right. That happened week after week after week after week, and then I was just left, I think, with one person. Who I met and trained up. And unfortunately, she had her own ideas. So I found that we got to one stage where the company got in a lot of debt, which we had to pay back. And that was that. So I went through all kinds of things. And I think once I'd been through that, I said, this is really crazy. Like, I need to do something. I need a support group, just like I had in England, where you can have other business owners that are helping you out, all the other good people that I'd met along the way. So I thought, okay, let's try and start a networking group. And that was interesting, because you can imagine the climate is very, very different in Seychelles to what it is in London. In London, people understand it because it's fast moving. If you don't sell, if you don't hit your targets, they might get rid of you and get somebody else. Seychelles, people are more laid back, and it's tiny. There's 100,000 people. So it's very, very small. And I thought, this is going to be interesting. But I just had this vision. I thought, I'm going to do this. Or should I say, I'm going to do this if it kills me. And I would call people and so on. And people said, oh, you'll never do it. You'll never do it. And in the first meeting that I ever had, I had about, I think, 12 or 13 people in a room. And it's the fastest time that anybody's ever got a referral from a networking group. This was really funny. What happened was there was a guy that sold golf carts. You know those little golf buggies that you see in these hotels? And the hotel manager was actually in our meeting as well, because it was at his hotel. We invited him to come along, and they were chatting. And before he had to sneak out early, so he said, look, guys, I've got to go, but look, there's a referral for you. So he wrote down a referral slip. And it was basically, the hotel needs golf carts. So the chap made quite a bit of money from that. That was the first meeting we ever had. And people have sold yachts and these really, fancy beachside properties, and also passed a lot of work to each other. It's been going for roughly about 10 years, I think. Now we've got 2 groups, and we've got a think tank as well. So I'm very thankful for that.
When did your focus move on to media, and what did you decide to do?
Okay, so the way that happened is what happened. So we did that. We did Dizzy, and we had a Facebook group, and we used to do videos and things. And I think it was probably just after COVID or just before COVID, the first president of Seychelles, Sir James Mancom, passed away. He was a very good family friend. He was a little bit like an uncle to me, somebody that I knew very well. And his stepson was a videographer. And what we both agreed is we said, it would be really good to tell the Seychelles story, because there's been a lot going on in Seychelles. We had independent, we had a coup, we had a mercenary attack, and so on and so on. It's quite a story. And we thought together, okay, all right, let's see if we can tell that story. So since I was on the ground, local to Seychelles, we said, okay, Claude, it's going to be your job to basically go out and interview the people. I said, okay, I've never done anything like that before. So I went out with the video men, and then we'd go and interview these people, one every week, one or two every week. As I was going around interviewing the people, my video man said to me, Claude, you know what? He said, you should do interviews. And I thought, do interviews? I don't know. And then I really thought a lot about what he said. And since I have an interest in entrepreneurship, I thought, what would be really cool? I could go around and interview people that have been really successful at something, because they've all got stories. And then I thought of programs like Robin Leach, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. I thought of those kind of programs, and I thought, that could be, because Seychelles, it's an exciting place. And then I said, okay. And then I just started phoning round a few people that I knew. Some of them had been to my groups, and others I knew along the way. And I said, hey, look, how about telling your story? I'll come over with a video, man, and interview you. And how would you feel about telling your story? And I think about a couple of people said, yeah, okay, let's have a go at it. So we did it. We shot the pilot, and I thought it looked quite good. And I think I had dinner with one of the chaps from the Seychelles Broadcasting Corporation. And it was just on my laptop. I mean, I had the program on my laptop, hit the play button, and I said, look, this is what we've done. What do you think? And he could say yes, no, you need to go back to the drawing board or whatever. And the first thing he said as he looked at it is, he said, how did you get this particular person in front of the camera? And for me, it was, I just said, well, I just asked him, and he said, yes. You see, because these people, the way it works in Seychelles is that because it's a very small place, not everybody who has a great story will want to tell it. It's to do with trust and things. It's not like in England. I mean, if you interview Sir, Richard Branson or Alan Sugar or whatever, they're far from your everyday person. So it doesn't matter. And they probably wouldn't have that much of a relationship. Whereas Seychelles, 100,000 people, very, very tiny. So not everybody wants to tell their story. But the way I pitched it to them is, look, guys, when you leave the earth, what do you want to leave with? It would be nice to leave some footsteps as to how you actually got to where you are, from an educational point of view as well, if nothing else. And they said yes. So we did the first 12. It went very well, and now we're filming the second season. So it's really good. It's really good fun. I mean, I've enjoyed doing it. We've gone to an island. There's an island that's protected by the World Heritage Site, so we've gone there. We've interviewed a guy that invented the laryngeal mask. He's an Englishman. Two Englishmen met in Seychelles in the 70s, and they made this laryngeal mask. So if you have an operation, they stick it down your throat so you can breathe. Like, they met in Seychelles. It's a great story.
Did you mention the name of the TV show? Sorry, did I miss that?
Movers and Shakers in Paradise. Movers and Shakers in Paradise.
Very good.
Yeah. I had to really think about that one, actually.
Claude, basically as well, you started mentioning about the differences. What do you see are the major differences, or are there not differences, but the same type of business momentum between British businesses and businesses in Seychelles?
I think, like wherever you are, you need to work hard. You need to have the right mindset. What can I say? I think if you have the drive to succeed in London, you have to get up, and you've got to get up early. You've got to work hard. You've got to phone people up and sell, etc. You can do it anywhere in the world. Seychelles, I think there's 2 or 3 different categories. I'd say there are some people that are very similar to their British counterparts. They do wake up early. They do phone people up. They really push themselves. And then there's others that are just happy with the status quo. Think about it. It's nice and warm here. You don't have to pay any heating bill. You don't have to protect yourself from the cold. You don't have to compete against 1,000 people. So what people want to achieve, I mean, it's no big deal. They've got a house to live in. They can live in their house. And some people, they've got their family land, so they can build a house on the family land. And then they've got a car to drive. And for quite a few people, they're okay with that. Or, people have a job and they're quite happy with the job because their basic needs are met. But some people that really want to experience a different life and they want to own their own time, they really do push themselves. But I'd say, obviously, because it's a small place, there's a lot less of them here than there is in England. The nice thing is, because of the lack of competition, is if you do one thing and you do one thing really well, not many people are going to compete against you. I remember once, going back about 10 or 15 years, I met an Irishman in my father's office, and he was a plumber, of all things, and he said, I think he had a little plumbing shop, and he said, it's really good here because there's no competition. So for an Irishman to say that, I thought, wow, okay. Fair enough.
Claude, what's your vision for the future? Near future? Distant future?
For being in Seychelles? I mean, what I'm actually finding is that I love television. I love doing things on TV. I love making TV programs. And if I can make more of them, then I'm very happy. Because I believe my whole thing is education. And I think if you can get more people to understand that you can live a magnificent life, you can live life to the fullest. And I would like to share all these things that I've learned. When I was in London, I learned from some of the best mentors in the world, I would say. Tony Robbins, Dr. John D. Martini. They were all personal development people, but I put everything that I've learned into practice. See, and that's the other thing is now I'm in Seychelles. I've got access to some of that stuff on the web, and I've got quite a fantastic book collection. This is when you really have to use the stuff that you've learned. It's all very well learning it, but now you need to put it in practice. And if I can help people to reach their best self, to do better, to go out and set the world alight, then I'm being purposeful, living my making, so to speak.
Now, Claude, this is the time to make us feel very, very jealous this afternoon. Describe your lifestyle in the Seychelles.
Okay, my lifestyle in the Seychelles today. Well, I would get up usually at about 5 a.m. or something like that. The sun comes up at about 6:37. So I'd go for a beach walk. And it's beautiful when you're actually on the beach watching the sun come up. And that is really, really nice. So I would do that. I don't do it every day, but maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And then have some breakfast, usually with a friend in a little cafe or something like that. And then I'll come back home. And depending on what I've got to do, sometimes I've got filming for a whole day. So I'll go off and do some filming. Other times I might do some office work. And then I would go and have lunch. Probably on the Friday. Friday is probably one of my best days because if I have a breakfast meeting on Eden Island, then I have the breakfast on Eden Island. I might have a one-to-one, have a coffee and a chat with somebody from the groups, and then have lunch with somebody else, and that's very nice. And then just have a little chill-out session in the afternoon, and then go home probably at about 5 or 6. And just enjoy a very nice dinner with the good lady. At the weekend, sometimes we may go to another island because you get a little plane, these sort of little 12-seater planes, and it just flies off, takes you to another little neighboring island. It's about 20-minute drive, 20-minute flight, and then we might stay there for the weekend and then come back on Monday. On the whole, it's really nice, and I'm very thankful for where I've got to. It's been a road of trials. It's been a roller coaster ride, but I'm thankful to have reached where I am.
From a well-being point of view and this beauty, it sounds stunning. It really does. I think we could all do something, have some of that here in the UK. So are you going to be coming back to the UK at all, Great Britain?
Yes,
Or...
yes, of course. I mean, usually I come back to England in July for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then I always come back for the whole month of December. So that's usually the time I'm in England, because I still have family in England. My sister, my cousin, and my nephew, they're all there. So, you know, I like to come back. I come back every year, actually, and I still enjoy it. Absolutely love it. I've always said England in the summer is the best place in the world.
How would you describe the paradise and the luxury of the Seychelles?
The paradise and the luxury. What is it they say? You know, paradise. It's not. You know, it's not where you live, but it's how you live. The paradise and the luxury. Paradise, yes, in the sense that it's a small place. There's beautiful beaches. There's really nice weather. And yeah, when I'm driving around, I remember an Englishman when he left Seychelles, he said it's like driving around a big garden. I forget the name of the film now, but the cars I think it was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or something, where the cars were very small and they were driving around the garden. And it's just like that in real life. You actually feel like you're driving around a big garden. That aspect of it, I would say, is really, really lovely. And I love every minute of it. Luxury, what can I say about luxury? You know, we've got these £1 million boats, those very nice yachts. We've got nice hotels. I've been lucky enough to go on some of these boats as well. I remember once we did some filming because I knew somebody who was in charge of one of these boats, so he let us film on his boat. And that was very nice, actually. Yeah, I mean, paradise. We can go to sleep with our doors open. I'll say that. Like, we have dogs at home. It's funny that you can't hear the dogs at the moment because they always bark at the wrong times. But we can go to bed with the doors open, which is really nice. In fact, I was just talking to the good lady, safety. If you think of safety, oftentimes we'll go to the beach and we will see people, holiday makers, and their kids are just running around freely on the beach. There's not many places in the world you can do that. There's not many places in the world you can do that. So that aspect of it is very nice. I'd say crime is very, very low, you know. So from that aspect of it, yeah, it is, you know. And I think I'd say when I first came, especially when I came back and I started working, I had a lot of trials and tribulations, as I said. But once I got past all that, sometimes I have to say I had to pinch myself to actually think, God, you really are in Seychelles. And the alarm clock wasn't going to go off and I'd be catching the 10 past 8 to Cannon Street or something like that, you know. So, but I never forget that, you know, I never forget that, and I'm very thankful to be here.
Claude, how do you think we could work together? Like, what could we bring to the Seychelles? Or what could you bring to the UK?
Well, how can we work together? I mean, like I say, I'm sure, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, as I go, I'm thinking of if you wanted to do something for business, something from the top of my head, which I thought would be really good fun, is doing something like I've done Movers and Shakers in Paradise, which is the entrepreneurs in Seychelles. But it might be really nice to do Movers and Shakers in the city as well. Picking people that are quite successful, you know, maybe really well known or maybe not so well known, but they're actually doing some really good things. And then telling the same story, like telling their story, because that would inspire other people to go out and start a business. That's one. And then the other thing is, as well as you just said earlier on, people, because of where we are in England, as you just said, there's a lot of businesses going down. 9 out of 10 businesses fail in the first year, and of those that make it, 9 out of 10 fail in the second year, and so on and so on and so on. So they have to have a very, very strong mindset just to wake up in the morning and keep going. And this is where I think this kind of thing would help them. One of the things that I heard Robert Kiyosaki say is somebody asked him that question. They said, you're talking about starting a business, but 9 out of 10 of them fail in the first year. What have you got to say about that, Mr. Kiyosaki? And you know what he said? He said, that's easy, start 10.
Yes. So finally, Claude, time is pressing on, unfortunately, today. How can people get in contact with you, and how can people see the shows that you do?
Sure. Well, you can. How can people get in touch with me? If you go to Facebook and type Claude Bonte de Beauvalon, I've got my Facebook page. So obviously people can send a message. If they want to, they can send a message. I'd be more than happy to respond to any messages they send. And that's it really, I guess.
Okay. And they can see your videos and your TV shows on that as well?
The videos and TV show, they have to go to SBC, Seychelles Broadcasting Corporation. SBC have they've got a Facebook group, and they've got their own YouTube channel as well. And they'll be able to see movers and shakers on there. Also on Facebook, I've also got a Movers and Shakers in Paradise page as well, so they can go on there and they can see some of the extracts and things like that from the shows.
Excellent. Well,
Great.
Claude, thank you so much for today. Helena and I are very, very jealous. We're in this cold studio this afternoon.
Dreaming of the sea.
Dreaming of the sunshine, dreaming of the sea. And come back on again soon, and let's see how we can build up some connections between Britain and the Seychelles. That would be fabulous.
Yeah, sure. And I hope as we go along at some point, you folks will come out here as well, you know, even if it's just for a holiday or something. But
We'll be
I think you'll
there
enjoy it.
tomorrow.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you so much
Thank
for your
you,
time this
Claude.
afternoon. Take care now.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye now. Well, wasn't that a great show? I mean, we've had all the royal stories again, and now we've been, well, at least thinking of ourselves in paradise, even if it is cold in here.
Yeah, no, perfect. Definitely, we've been invited. Let's go.
Let's go, absolutely, let's go. Well, as always, I like to thank the people who have really supported us. So, first of all, can I thank ALB UK TV and Helena Castrati for allowing us to work in the studio here. Can I thank Dr. Jacalyn from USA Global TV and Radio. Can I thank also two of our wonderful people, Nancy Duen and Honey Calamari, who are really helping us in different ways. And as always, we work together, hand and fist.
We do.
And we're trying to keep cheerful in a very cold day. And I swear to goodness, this week I think it's quite hard to actually keep a smile on our faces when we talk to Claude. He's in the sunshine, and we're in the cold.
It's all good. Things are looking up.
Things are looking up. It's almost spring.
It is.
So for me, Ian Pelham Turner.
And from me, Helena Chard.
Have a great week. Enjoy yourselves. And we will be on again next week. And this will be with a new venture capitalist who's got a £10 million float for businesses.
Ooh.
Take care.